everyone, it's Shar. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. First of all, I'm sorry for missing Sunday's upload. I do try to post every Sunday and Wednesday, but this weekend I was dog sitting for my sister's puppy, who is 7 months old and untrained. So she did demand a lot of my attention, but in today's video, let's do a mid-year check-in. I am doing the mid-year freakout tag, which is so fun for me because I believe that's also the first video that I ever posted on this booktube channel, so it's like a little throwback for me. I'm going to tell you all about my reading for the past few months, so without further ado, let's jump on it. And I will have the details for who started this tag down below in the description if you want to check that out. I will also have all of the questions that I answered down below as well. So the first question is, what is the best book that I've read so far in 2024? This was actually a really hard question for me to answer because I don't think I've had any super standout favorites. I found things that I've absolutely loved, but I find that as time goes on, I'm getting stingier with my 5 stars, or rather, I'm getting more familiar with my reading taste, and that means that I am more critical in what I read in terms of how I rate books. However, the book that I would say is the most standout of what I've read is The Right Move by Liz Tomford. I'm not going to give you summaries for each of these books because I've spoken about them at some point or another already on my channel, and I just find that would be very repetitive and boring. This is a sports romance. I really loved it because of the relationship between Ryan and Indy. I felt like they were soulmates, but I also just really appreciated the way that Ryan loved Indy and all of the quiet actions that he did that showed how much he loved her. The best sequel that I've read so far. Well, this year I did do a video where I read the entire Thursday Murder Club series, so I could count that, but if you haven't seen that video, I'll let you see my full thoughts on that series. I'll have that linked in this video or somewhere in the description. So instead, what I'm going to tell you is The Hollow Dead by Darcy Coates. This is the 4th book in the Graveyard Keepers series, which is about a woman who is essentially the ghost whisperer. She can speak to spirits and she has amnesia, and she's trying to figure out why she has amnesia and what the heck is going on with all of the ghosts. It is a very cozy horror series, and I really enjoyed it. It was super atmospheric, a very fun time, and if you want my full review, I read it in this vlog. A new release that I haven't read yet that I really want to. The answer to this is there could be so many books that fall into that category, specifically because a lot of the books that I've been looking forward to came out in May and June, but May and June are very, very chaotic months for me. There's so many new release books that I have not read yet just because they came out recently, but the one at the top of my mind is Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands. This came out at the beginning of the year. I've held off reading it. It's a sequel to Emily Wilde, which I really enjoyed. It's like a fantasy, romance, cozy kind of story, but with darker fate elements. I put off reading it because I ordered the special edition from Fairy Loot, and I want to get the special edition from Fairy Loot first. However, that's not coming to July, so I'm likely not going to see this book until the fall, but I may read it at some point. That's just something to distract me. My most anticipated book for the second half of the year. Again, there are so many books that I could list here, and I do make videos as of recent telling you about the releases that are on my radar every 2 months or so. But the book that I would say I'm most anticipating right now is You're the Problem, It's You. This is the sequel to Don't Want You Like a Best Friend, which was a sapphic, Victorian romance that I really enjoyed. I gave that 4 stars. And this is the sequel following these 2 men who are kind of like enemies, but are going to fall in love, but we're still following the sapphic couple from the first book because they're scheming to get these 2 men together. So I'm very excited to read that book. Biggest disappointment of the year. There was one book that truly could have been the answer to this question, but that book was published by St. Martin's Press, so I cannot discuss it in this video. So instead, the book that I'm going to tell you was Caught Up by Liz Tomford. Yes, that's really surprising because The Right Move was my top book of the year so far, yet the next book in the series is my biggest disappointment. I think I was just not in the right mindset to read this book. I did not connect with the characters. I didn't believe in the relationship. I wasn't really fully entertained by it, and the audiobook truly just annoyed me in many ways. However, that makes it sound like I hated the book. I didn't. I gave it like 3.5 stars. It was just a disappointment because I was expecting to adore this the same way that I adored The Right Move, and it was just okay. The biggest surprise was An Earl to Remember by Stacey Reed. The reason why this is the biggest surprise is because this is, I believe, the first book I dipped my toe into historical romances this year, and this was the one that I started with. And I was surprised because, one, it sparked memories for me of Overboard. This is an Overboard retelling, and Overboard came out in like the 80s or something. I was not alive. I watched this in reruns in the late 90s, early 2000s, so I was a very, very young child watching this movie, and this book just reminded me of it. It was such a funny, cozy book. I really loved the banter and the dynamics between the two main characters of this story, as well as the whole family aspects, because our female character, our heroine, is trying to support her sisters and raise her family in that way, and I just really enjoyed this. It was a surprise because it was a 5-star read, and I was not expecting to love that as much as I did, but it also sparked my historical romance era. New favorite author is something that I thought I wouldn't be able to answer because, quite honestly, it takes a lot of books for me to consider an author a favorite author, and a lot of the books that I read this year that I really enjoyed, this isn't my first experience with the author, nor would I call the author a favorite based on one book. However, there's one author who I think could fall into this category. Apologies now because I'm going to butcher this author's last name, but that's Tal Barr, who I think writes such really deeply romantic queer romances, specifically romances. I only read Gravity by this author, but it really blew me out of the water. I thought that it was a fantastic book. I really enjoyed the writing style, the character development, the relationship between the characters, and the layers of complexity that the author is able to integrate within their stories. I felt that it was really great, and I already have other books from this author on my TBR. So cautiously, a new favorite author, but the writing style of this book completely blew me away, so that's why I'm putting this as my answer to this question. Newest fictional crush. What a fun question. I'm gonna just say these are the characters that I really enjoyed that had me like blushing and giggling as I was reading them, and there's a couple. The first is Chris from Devon and Chris Plan a Wedding. This is a fake dating reality TV show sapphic romance, and I absolutely loved it. Chris is a masked lesbian, and I just thought she was so suave and so sweet, and just every time I heard her in the narration of like the audiobook, blushing and giggling because I was like, she's smooth even through this damn book, and definitely would consider her a crush potentially for this book. Then I have Josephine from Fangirl Down. Fangirl Down also really blew me away this year. I was shocked that it was a 5-star read and that I was absolutely obsessed with it. However, I liked Josephine's partner in this book. I thought that he was really funny and I liked them together, but Josephine herself is such a sunshine character with such like boundless optimism that I just loved her. And I just gravitated towards her. I was like, sunshine girlfriend. She is so much fun. Was such a pleasure to read about. So definitely including Josephine on this list. And the last one I have for you is Ballard from Entreat Me by Grace Draven. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but we're following the sister of our Beauty character and the father of our Beast character. And this was such a fun story. Ballard just has such dry humor that had me laughing the whole way through. But he was also so romantic in his dry humor that I was just like, what a sweetie pie. Does he turn into a raging beast every once in a while? Yeah. But was he sweet as hell and really funny? Yeah. So of course he was a fictional crush. Newest favorite character. Well, since we just spoke about Ballard from Entreat Me, let me tell you about Louvain from Entreat Me, Ballard's lover, his partner in this story. Louvain also has a very dry sense of humor, which is why I think that the banter between Ballard and Louvain worked really, really well. But she was also just outright hilarious, so witty, so strong, like truly a badass female main character. And as you all know, I love a bad bitch. So of course she was a favorite character for me. A book that made me cry. I was going to struggle with this, and then I remember that there's a clip of me from this year of me sobbing over The Last Devil to Die by Richard Osman. A bit of a spoiler for that aforementioned Thursday Murder Club series reading vlog, but yes, The Last Devil to Die did in fact make me sob because of what happened in the end, and I was like, Richard Osman, how dare you do this to me? How dare you do this to me? I'm not going to spoil what happens and why everyone who's read this has sobbed. But yes, I did in fact cry reading this book. And if you want to see me cry reading this book, it's in a reading vlog. A book that made me happy was Fangirl Down by Tessa Bailey. I genuinely just had such a good time reading this. I did not want to put it down. It was just the lighthearted, fluffy story that I wanted. And it's a possessive man who's jealous, but is completely on his knees for our female main character. And yes, to spoil something for you very mildly, she does in fact eat his ass like a cupcake. And I'm gonna leave that at that. The most beautiful book that I've bought this year. This is a little bit of a spoiler because I'm showing this to you in an upcoming video, which you will be seeing next week, I think, or on Sunday. By the way, I will be very much moving in that week, so I am pre-filming. But the most beautiful book that I bought this year was Ice Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon. I'm forgetting where I bought this from, so I'll have it linked in the description below if it is still available. But this is a sci-fi romance series. You all are familiar in some way or another with IPB. This is one of my favorite sci-fi romance series, and it's the most beautiful book I bought, not only for the nostalgia reasons and that I love it, but like, look at that. Did you really beam me up in a cloud of sparkling dust? It's so cute. Oh, I just realized it has stickers. Wow. It's from Era Books because there's a sticker that just fell out. I didn't even realize there were stickers in here, which just shows you I haven't opened it, but that's what it looks like. Really, the edges of this are just mind-blowingly beautiful. So this is the most beautiful book that I purchased this year. Did you really beam me up? Wow, this whole video was feeling like an ad for my other videos. Obviously it's not, but if you like beautiful books and you've seen the little peak of the pile behind me, make sure to stay tuned for my next video where I'll be showing you my most beautiful books. And the final question that I'm going to answer for you all is, what books do I need to read before the year is over? There are so many books that I'm looking forward to that haven't even come out yet. That's my knee, by the way. I'm sitting like this. But there's also so many books that have already come out that I just have not gotten to yet. In June, I literally have read one book. June is not going to be a reading month for me, but I'll have plenty of time in July. And so what I'm really looking forward to is The Honey Witch by Sydney J. Shields, which is just a cozy sapphic romance, which I'm really looking forward to reading. Of course, I also have Funny Story by Emily Henry. You all know that Emily Henry and I have a very complicated relationship, but this is a story I think that I am going to really enjoy, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed for that one. And then finally, it's The Reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly, I always want to say Holly Black. It's not. I think it's Holly Jackson. This is her next book following a girl who's like having a documentary made about her family because her mother disappeared many years ago, and while they're filming this, her mother reappears and they're like, yo, what the fuck? And she's like, something's weird here, and we're trying to figure that out. So that is the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I would love to know in the comments below if you would like to share what your favorite book of the year was, or if there is a book that hasn't released yet that you are really looking forward to. As always, thank you for watching. Please subscribe before you head on out. I have a goal of reaching 1,000 subscribers for my 2-year booktube anniversary. I cannot reach that without you. I just want to say thank you to everyone who has been here since the beginning. Thank you to everyone who watches my video. Thank you to everyone who is newly subscribed. And if you've ever taken the time to leave me a comment in a video, I want you to know that I deeply appreciate that. It puts such a big smile on my face when you take the time to leave a comment in my videos. So with that said, I am going to let you go for now. For me, I'm filming another video, but for you, I shall see you on Sunday. Hopefully. If it's Wednesday, it's because I'm on vacation and I'm moving. Again, busy. Bye!